Welcome back, artists. It's me, Wire Paints. This week, I'm heading off to the Mushroom Kingdom to paint up a couple of Luigi brother heads. Yeah, and I said the Luigi brothers, cause he's far and away the superior brother. Whenever Mario needed a hand, Luigi had his brother's back. Go-karting, baseball, soccer, heck, he even went to the Olympics for his brother. But the one time Luigi needed his brother to come help clean out a house he inherited, Mario ghosted him. Gone. And he ghosted with the whole crew. Nobody showed up for Luigi. He strapped a vacuum cleaner on his back and did it solo. The only person to show up was his homie Toad. That's why he's the GOAT. I'm the best. You damn right you are. Along with the heads, we also got a couple of interesting bases today. So this week's project is going to be a fun one. So why don't you meet me over at the painting table? I'm going to grab my brushes. Let's get started. Now, these heads came with a choice of different theme bases, and my client settled on first Bullet Bill here. Let's get him going with black metal. While Bill tends to be just a flat black, I do want to give him a bit of that metallic sheen, and this is about the darkest metal paint I've been able to find. You could mix a little black ink to darken it further, but you definitely would risk losing that metallic glint. Next up, rough iron. As an interesting detail, this Bill has yet to be fired, so he's still sitting in his casing. A bit of rough iron here will help set up a base to work from. For a highlight, Evil Chrome. Keep this at a light dry brush around the base and slowly brighten up the casing, giving extra emphasis on the edges. Then come back in with Weapon Bronze for a final pop. At this point, I need to slow down and really dial in my aim to really only catch the top and bottom lip of the brass pants, which makes me kind of question, once they're fired, are Bullet Bills technically naked? I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but it's kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? The fact that they put him in shoes makes it really hard for me to ignore that he's running around freeballing it. I mean, the 90s were wild, man. And so is Bill here. Now for Basilisk Red, to lay down a base for his eyes and mouth. Then we could perk up those reds with some Dragon Red. The key thing to remember here is to paint clean only where you have to. The teeth are going to be painted over later, so they don't really matter. Just keep that black metal edge clean, and future you will thank you for saving them some work. For all the white areas, I first put down a neutral gray. This will not only knock down the shine from the underlying metallic, but also make sure that any overpainting from the reds don't influence the white as an undercoat. Finally, Spaceship Exterior stands in for white. As per usual, most penners tend to avoid using white, and here I'm going with a very light neutral gray. Next to all of this very dark metallic, it's going to read as white in a pinch, and without all the hassle. After a bit of black and a dot of spaceship to finish off the pupils and eyeshine, I slid Bullet Bill into the done category. Sweet. The next base is this Piranha Pete plant. Easy peasy, let's get squeezy. Going in for the main body reds, I didn't see a reason to switch up the method, so the main flower bulb got a base of Basilisk red, followed by a heavy dry brush of Dragon to brighten it up. Then, like the teeth before, all of the spots were first neutralized in a medium gray. Then, brightened up with spaceship exterior. When it came to the leaves, I broke out Guardian Green for a solid base. Just don't forget to paint the vine plug that Pete blooms from. Now for a bit of detail with Eternal Hunt. All it takes is a little tap to stipple on a bit of visual interest. Just don't press down so hard that you get a circle stamp. You only want the tallest bristles to make contact, and it's best to go light for the first pass, and then once it's dry, come back and even out the parts that didn't get enough the first time. And now with Kraken Skin, I want to add one more step of highlight. It's the same stipple, just an even lighter touch. Just one or two in each spot is enough. Finally, the lips and teeth got the usual medium gray to light gray treatment until they pop. With both bases down, we're about halfway through the project, so I figure this is a good time to take a moment and thank my subscribers over on Patreon. Every month, your continuous support keeps the paint flowing. And speaking of flowing, you may have noticed quite a few new colors this episode. And no, Army Painter Senpai has not noticed me yet. But thanks to my generous patrons, I was able to update my paint supply to the full Fanatic paint line. With a special shout out to the Macho for help printing out my new paint storage solution. With rent, resin and everything in general going up in prices, I would not have been able to afford this without your continued support. If you would like to join the Painting Pantheon and help contribute to the next channel upgrade, you'll find a link below. For me, I'm gonna grab this Power Star and speed run my way through the rest of this project. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do that the whole time. But if you do want to hear the full version of the power song, it'll be at the end of the video. For now, I will be speedrunning in a sense that these brothers are mostly the same, so I might as well paint them at the same time. I want to start by putting down some Basilisk Red for the exposed flesh areas. And I'm going painters without borders here. Just slap it down even and smooth and don't worry about overstepping boundaries. Now for some Dusty Skull. Here I have to be mindful of the flesh edge and keep it clean. Otherwise, the goal is the same, solid, even color. Now, for a touch of shading, starting with soft tone. I'm looking to shade the deeper details and really dirty up the bone some. This will add some interesting texture to the surface and give me a nice contrast to the more flatly painted areas. Just be sure to thin it out and mop up any pooling that happens. And for the second shade, dark red tone. This can be a bit more of a slapdash all over wash. The goal here is just to settle into the more vascular details. I'm looking for a bit of grossness, but not too much. This still needs to be E for everyone. With the shades dry, it's time to clean up and highlight the bone by going back with a thinned down Dusty Skull. Just be sure not to overload your brush or it will fudge your model and wash out all of that recessed shading. Just take your time and ease it up slowly. Next, I perked up the flesh edge using a few touches of base red. My thought process here was just to pick out the larger masses so they stood out a touch more from the more general viscera. Moving on to the skin, the first stop is Jasper Skin. And this step is just the same as before. Solid, even, opaque coats. Be prepared for this to take several coats to get that even coverage you're looking for, especially over black. Just don't give in to the urges to slap on thin coats or you'll end up with a lumpy, bumpy texture. After a handful of passes, Tourmaline Skin stepped in for a highlight. For this, I went with a stipple. This way, I can regulate the amount of highlight by using multiple passes, and I get a nice diffused edge that gives the skin a super soft glow. Just tap it out. More taps in area that I want more highlight, and less taps where I want less. And it's gonna start rough, but as you build on it, the softness will appear out of nowhere. Of course, after the skin, my gruesome edge needed a bit of cleanup before moving on to the eyes and laying down a layer of neutralizing gray. Now for a pop of color with Regal Blue. Use this to fill in the recess area of the iris. Next, mix in some bright sapphire at about 50-50 and stamp this at the top half of the eye, leaving the bottom half nice and dark. Then, using pure sapphire, put a few dabs at the top 10% of the eye. After which, the pupil can be filled in with black. Then layer up the whites of the eye using the medium gray to light gray. And don't forget the bit of eye shine. Moving on to the hair, Brigandine Brown. Now, I was a bit stuck here as the hair sometimes is a medium brown, other times it's a black, and a few times his mustache will be black and his hair will be light brown. So I opted for a dark brown for both, rather than try to guess which version is more canon. If you have any insights on which you think is correct, I'd love to read them in the comments. With the stashes down, it's time to tackle their classic caps. And Mario here is getting Resplendent Red as a simple coat. This is a large smooth surface, so it's critical to get an even finish. Using thin coats will help build up this color without fouling the surface. When it comes to the cap medallion, I once again laid down my medium gray base and then brightened it up with the spaceship. Then I finished it off by filling in the initial and the raised lip. The superior Turtle Stomper got the same treatment, only with green skin. As I filled in the L with my favorite color, it was looking complete. So I varnished them up and called them done. And here we go! These came out great! I think we dialed the colors in just right to catch that classic Nintendo vibe. Bill and Pete are looking spot on for their roles, and I even threaded the needle on the gore. I think my client is really going to enjoy these on his shelf. And all that's left for me is to pack them up and ship them out. And not a moment too soon, as I've got a few prints on the table just waiting to get painted. So this is where I leave you. But as always, thank you for watching, stay creative, and always enjoy the process.